Hey there, Markham Luttrell here with my first ever attempt to release something for YouTube. So here goes nothing. Tomorrow I'm going to be putting out my first ever recording on my podcast, which will have a little bit of my funny stories mingled into there, but it's generally just me talking. But this is my first funny story that I'm releasing. So it's in honor of the upcoming football season. Me and my brother always love football. I know not everyone, sports are their thing. I mean, my sister counts dancing as her sport. All right. I don't know if that's technically a thing, but it might be in the Olympics, I think. I'm not sure, so maybe it counts. But anyhow, here goes. So everyone seems to have their own niche when it comes to sports. You might like hockey, you might like tennis, you might prefer pro, you might prefer college, you might prefer minor league. Some people do, I don't know. But with me and my brother, it was always NFL football. NFL football. I've been managing the same league for I think it's almost 8 years now in fantasy football, and I absolutely love it. And one of my best friends growing up, he was a big time football fan for college. Specifically, Alabama and Auburn. And you're sitting there going, well, how can you be an Alabama and an Auburn fan at the same time? I mean, those are big rivals. Well, it's simple. His family was one giant clan of Alabama fans. He was an Auburn fan. So if his family wasn't around, he was an Auburn fan. The second they came in the room, he's sitting there cheering for Alabama. That's how it worked. But he was convinced that he knew quite a bit about sports. I mean, he would get so hyped up about the game. But he got a job as a security guard. And it was at a rather prestigious hotel in the area. A lot of football players would stay there when they would come to the area. And, I mean, it wasn't unusual for him to recognize the Alabama and Auburn players when they would come through. Because we live on the border of Alabama. Now, granted, we're in Florida. So it's practically lower Alabama. There are more Alabama and Auburn fans in our area than there are Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Jacksonville Jaguars or FSU fans. It's just, that's kind of the area we lived in. Well, he recognized every stinking Alabama and Auburn player that came through the gate. And I told him to keep an eye out because I knew NFL players stayed there too. And he never seemed to know any. He never seemed to meet any. Until one day, he told me this story about this guy who comes in. And he's carrying all this gear from the Seattle Seahawks. I was listening to him describe the guy. I was thinking, that sounds an awful lot like Richard Sherman. He's like, well, I asked the guy, are you a fan of the Seattle Seahawks? New England Seahawks would be an interesting team. Maybe they'll swap places someday. Who knows? But he's like, are you a fan of the Seattle Seahawks? And the guy was like, I play for the Seattle Seahawks. I was like, oh, yeah, I bet you that was awkward. No, it wasn't awkward to him. He was just like, yeah, I met an NFL player. I'm like, yeah, but he now knows that you think he's a fan and not a player. Well, I figured, okay, this is a one-time deal. He'll never make that mistake again. But sure enough, a couple months later, he's talking to me again, and he's like, hey, I finally met another NFL player. I was like, really? Who? And I remember, if I remember the story correctly, it was Rob Gronkowski of the New England Patriots. He came in with his Patriots gear, and he was in rehab at a local hospital, I think it was, or something. I'm not entirely sure why I was there. Maybe he was just there to visit the area. But he comes in, and my friend is like, hey, you must be a fan of the New England Patriots. You got a lot of gear there. And I just stopped right there. I was like, whoa. Wait, what do you mean? You asked the biggest tight end in the NFL if he's a fan of his team? I mean, I thought you would have learned the lesson the first time. Nope, apparently he didn't. So he made that mistake 2 times in a row. I was in touch with him recently, and these stories came to mind because he was talking about his job as a police officer. I was like, wait. So you couldn't identify football players who are national celebrities carrying their athlete gear with them. But you now intend on hunting down and piecing together criminals with their crime? Okay, good luck to you. And it's just really one of those stories that, to this day, it still cracks me up. And it never fazed him a bit. I mean, it never felt awkward to him, the fact that he was like, hey, I mean, you must be a fan. I mean, to me, I would have been like, oops. But, you know, that's one of the cool things. There's some guys out there, they're just so chill. Nothing phases them. They just keep going on with the conversation. And that was definitely my friend, and good luck to him with his job. And honestly, for all the football players out there, please, all of you, stay healthy. We don't like it when you guys get injured. I know you don't like it either. So best of luck to all athletes out there, of any sport for that matter, and especially in the NFL with the season about to get underway. And I'm looking forward to the season beginning. Anyhow, this is Markham Luttrell, and I am signing off. Hey again, Markham Luttrell here. I just want to make a note. This is my first post on my YouTube channel. So if you liked what you heard, click like. If you disliked it, click dislike. If you have tips or a funny story about something that happened to you concerning football or just any sport in general, type in the comments below. If you want to hear more of my stuff, click subscribe. If not, you don't have to. That's fine. Anyhow, I wish you all the best afternoon. And I will be continuing to post things. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm a stand-up comedian by trade. I don't know how good of one I am going to be, but I'm giving it a shot. Just working on open mic nights right now. And gonna work my way up from there. Anyhow, like I said, if you liked it, click like. If you dislike it, click dislike. If you have tips for future funny stories or future topics you might like to hear about, type those in the comments below as well. Anyhow, best of luck to you all, and have a wonderful day.